Good evening, dear listeners. As the day gently fades into night, I invite you to find a comfortable spot, perhaps nestled in your favorite chair or cocooned in your softest blanket. The world outside is winding down, and it's the perfect time to let go of the day's worries and immerse yourself in a soothing narrative. Tonight, we embark on a serene journey into the often overlooked realm of ancient history, a topic that, while seemingly mundane, is rich in detail and offers a gentle lullaby for your mind. Our exploration will take us back to the time of the Romans, a civilization known for its grandeur and complexity. But instead of grand battles or towering monuments, we will delve into the more meticulous and perhaps tedious aspects of their daily life, specifically, the careful maintenance of chariot wheels and the seasonal inspection protocols that ensured their reliable performance. You may wonder how such a topic could possibly soothe your mind. However, there is a unique comfort in the rhythm of routine and the diligence of those who came before us. We will begin by painting a picture of the bustling streets of ancient Rome, where the clatter of chariot wheels echoed through the cobblestone pathways. Imagine the artisans and workers, their hands deftly tending to the wooden spokes and metal rims, creating a harmonious blend of craftsmanship and engineering. We will explore the seasonal rituals that governed their work, the careful inspections that ensured safety and functionality, and the communal spirit that turned maintenance into a shared responsibility. As we meander through this historical narrative, we will uncover the significance of these seemingly mundane tasks. Each wheel, meticulously cared for, played a vital role in the flow of life in Rome, transporting goods, people, and stories. You will hear about the tools they used, the techniques passed down through generations, and the rhythm of their seasonal preparations as they readied their chariots for the changing weather. Through this journey, we will discover how these maintenance protocols were not merely tasks to be completed but rather a dance of diligence that echoed through the ages. The sounds of wood scraping against metal, the gentle thud of a wheel being placed into position, and the soft whispers of workers discussing their craft will envelop you, creating a vivid tapestry of sound and sensation that invites relaxation. As we delve deeper, with each passing month, we will trace the rhythm of life and labor, understanding the importance of preparation and care in a world that thrived on movement and connectivity. So, dear listeners, let your mind drift as we prepare to embark on this soothing exploration. Allow the gentle cadence of my voice to wash over you, inviting you to relax more deeply with every word. As we transition into the detailed history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance, I encourage you to close your eyes if you wish and let the history of wheels turning on cobblestones carry you into a peaceful state of mind. Inhale deeply, feeling your body sink into relaxation, and exhale any remnants of the day's tension. Let's begin our journey into the calming world of ancient Roman practices, where each wheel tells a story of care, craftsmanship, and community, guiding you gently into a restful state of slumber. Welcome to the soothing saga of the tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines. The history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines can be traced back to the earliest days of the Roman Republic, around 509 BCE. The Roman chariot, known as the quadriga, when drawn by 4 horses, became a significant aspect of Roman culture and society, particularly in the context of public games and military endeavors. The protocols surrounding their maintenance were thus of considerable importance, both for the safety of the charioteers and the efficiency of the vehicles themselves. Initially, the records pertaining to chariot maintenance are limited, primarily found in the writings of historians such as Livy and Pliny the Elder. In his extensive work, Natural History, Pliny mentions various materials used in the construction of chariot wheels, including wood types like oak and ash, which were favored for their durability. The earliest documented reference to wheel maintenance can be attributed to the Roman military leader and writer, Julius Caesar, who in his military campaigns around 58 to 50 BCE, noted the importance of maintaining chariot wheels in his commentaries on the Gallic Wars. The design of the Roman chariot wheel was both intricate and practical. The wheels were typically constructed with a hub, spokes, and a rim, which were often reinforced with metal bands to ensure longevity and strength. The craftsmanship of these wheels was paramount, as they were subjected to rigorous use on the uneven terrains of the Roman Empire. The hub, made from solid wood, was essential for stability, while the spokes, which radiated outward from the hub to the rim, were crucial for weight distribution. By the time of the late Republic, around 100 BCE, more systematic approaches to wheel maintenance began to emerge. The establishment of the cursus publicus, the Roman state courier and transportation service, necessitated a more organized methodology for the upkeep of chariots, particularly in regions such as Italy and the provinces of Gaul and Hispania. Administrative records from this period indicate that local magistrates were tasked with overseeing the maintenance of chariots used for state purposes. These records were meticulously kept on wax tablets and later inscribed on stone, detailing the inspections performed and any repairs needed. The procedural guidelines for wheel maintenance were often outlined in local administrative decrees. For instance, the Lex Irnitana, a document from the southern region of Hispania dating back to 1 CE, specifies that all chariot wheels must undergo a thorough inspection at the beginning of each season. This inspection included checking for cracks in the wood, ensuring that the metal bands were intact, and verifying the alignment of the spokes. Such regulations were crucial for ensuring the safety and reliability of chariots, especially during public games held in the Circus Maximus in Rome, where chariot racing was a popular spectacle. The daily routines of charioteers and their teams were structured around these stringent maintenance protocols. Each morning, before the commencement of daily races or military exercises, the charioteers, often accompanied by a designated wheelwright, would perform a series of inspections. The wheelwright, an expert in wheel construction and repair, would begin by examining the integrity of the wheel assembly. This process was methodical. First, the wheel would be removed from the chariot frame, and the hub would be inspected for signs of wear. Following this, the spokes would be tested for flexibility and strength, often by applying pressure or gently bending them. Any sign of weakness would warrant immediate repair, often involving the replacement of individual spokes. The rims, which were typically made of iron or bronze, also required attention. The wheelwright would check for rust or corrosion, particularly in moist environments such as the coastal regions of the Mediterranean. If deterioration was evident, the metal would be treated with oils or resins to prevent further damage. The final step in the daily inspection involved ensuring that the wheel was properly lubricated. This was achieved by applying animal fats or plant-based oils to the axle and hub, facilitating smooth rotation and minimizing friction. In addition to daily inspections, the seasonal maintenance timeline was a critical aspect of wheel care. The Roman calendar, structured around the agricultural seasons, dictated the timing of these inspections. A notable example can be found in the works of Columella, a first-century agricultural writer, who emphasized the importance of maintaining vehicles during the winter months when chariots were less frequently used. Columella recommended a thorough inspection at the end of the harvest season, typically around October, to prepare for the winter months ahead. These seasonal inspections were often formalized with public notices, posted in the forum or other central locations within towns and cities throughout the empire. The notices would inform local citizens of the upcoming inspections, encouraging them to bring their chariots for examination. The designated officials, often local magistrates or appointed inspectors known as curators, would oversee the process, ensuring that all vehicles met the required standards. Failure to comply with these protocols could result in penalties, such as fines or the temporary suspension of chariot use. The architectural features of the workshops where wheel maintenance took place were also of significance. Many towns had dedicated areas for vehicle repair, often found near the local forum or marketplace. These workshops were typically simple structures with thatched roofs supported by wooden beams. Inside, one would find various tools necessary for wheel construction and repair, such as wooden mallets, chisels, and metalworking equipment. The presence of a forge was also common, allowing for the crafting and repair of metal components. The importance of proper chariot wheel maintenance was not solely a matter of practicality, it also had social implications. The status of a charioteer was often reflected in the condition of their chariot and its wheels. A poorly maintained vehicle could result in public embarrassment, especially during races or parades. Consequently, affluent citizens often employed specialized wheelwrights to ensure that their chariots remained in optimal condition, reflecting their social standing and attention to detail. In the context of military campaigns, the maintenance of chariot wheels took on added significance. Roman legions, known for their discipline and organization, relied heavily on the mobility provided by chariots for both transport and warfare. Historical accounts from the historian Tacitus reveal that during the early campaigns in Germania around 9 CE, the maintenance of military chariots was paramount. The legions would conduct regular inspections of their vehicles, particularly before and after battles, to ensure that they were battle-ready. The wheels were inspected for any signs of damage sustained during combat, and repairs would be made on-site, often utilizing local materials. As the Roman Empire expanded, so too did the complexity of chariot wheel maintenance protocols. By the time of the empire's zenith, around 117 CE, a more bureaucratic approach had emerged, particularly in provinces far from the capital. The establishment of local guilds of wheelwrights, known as fabbri, became common. These guilds were responsible for training new craftsmen and ensuring that maintenance protocols were adhered to across regions. They operated under the auspices of local governments, reinforcing the importance of standardized practices in wheel maintenance. The decline of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century CE saw a gradual degradation of these structured maintenance protocols. As political instability and economic challenges arose, the resources allocated for the upkeep of chariots diminished. The workshops that once buzzed with activity became less frequent, leading to a decline in the quality of chariot wheels. Historical records from this period indicate that former standards were often overlooked, and many chariots were left in disrepair due to the inability to procure necessary materials or skilled labor. In conclusion, the history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines reflects a sophisticated understanding of vehicular upkeep that was crucial to both military and civilian life. From the earliest days of the Republic through the height of the Empire, these protocols evolved, demonstrating a commitment to safety, efficiency, and social status. As Roman influence waned, so too did the meticulous practices that had defined chariot maintenance, marking the end of an era in which the functionality of wheels was intricately linked to the civilization's successes and failures. The construction methods employed in the production of Roman chariot wheels were characterized by a combination of local resources and standardized techniques that evolved throughout the Republic and into the Empire. The primary material utilized in wheel construction was wood, favored for its lightweight and resilient properties. The most commonly used timber included oak, ash, and elm, each selected for specific attributes: oak for its durability, ash for its flexibility, and elm for its rot resistance when exposed to moisture. The average diameter of a Roman chariot wheel ranged from 0.8 meters to 1.2 meters, with the width varying based on the type of chariot. For instance, the lightweight racing chariots, known as baigai, typically featured narrower wheels, while the heavier quadrigi, utilized in warfare and transport, had broader wheels averaging 0.25 meters in width. The wheel construction began with the selection of a suitable log, which was then split into segments for the hubs, spokes, and rims. The wheel hub, generally a solid piece of wood, was bored with a central hole to accommodate the axle. Spokes were then fitted into the hub, extending radially outward and secured by wooden pegs. The rim, often made from a single piece of timber bent into a circular shape, was then attached to the outer ends of the spokes. Historical records from 34 BCE indicate that a skilled wheelwright could produce a complete wheel in approximately 10 to 12 days, depending on the complexity of the design and the skill level of the artisan. Maintenance procedures for chariot wheels were systematic and adhered to seasonal inspection timelines. Inspections were mandated to occur at the beginning of each season, specifically in March, June, September, and December. These inspections were crucial, as the wear and tear from usage could lead to catastrophic failures during races or military engagements. During these inspections, the following aspects were meticulously checked: the integrity of the wheel structure, including the hub, spokes, and rim, the condition of the axle, which was also subject to wear, and the tension of the spokes, which required adjustment to ensure that the wheel maintained its shape while in motion. The rim was examined for cracks or splits, and any damage was addressed immediately. Records from 17 CE indicate that a typical inspection took about 2 hours per wheel, with a skilled technician able to identify issues through visual assessment and tactile examination. If any irregularities were found, repairs were prioritized based on severity. Common repairs included the replacement of broken spokes, which, according to a document from 48 CE, could be performed in approximately 1 hour, and the reconditioning of rims, which could take up to 3 hours depending on the extent of damage. Financial records pertaining to wheel maintenance reveal the costs associated with both materials and labor. The price of a single wooden wheel in 45 BCE was approximately 20 denarii, which accounted for the raw materials and the labor of the wheelwright. However, regular maintenance and repairs could accumulate additional costs, with annual expenses for a racing chariot reaching upwards of 60 denarii. A detailed ledger from 29 CE illustrates the breakdown of costs associated with wheel maintenance: 10 denarii for the inspection service, 5 denarii for replacing 2 spokes, and 8 denarii for rim repairs. These expenses were often recorded in the accounts of chariot owners, who meticulously tracked every transaction to ensure the economic sustainability of their racing or transport operations. The personnel responsible for chariot wheel maintenance varied in rank and expertise, reflecting the hierarchical structure of Roman society. At the top of this hierarchy were the skilled wheelwrights, Fabri, who were often organized into guilds. These craftsmen were required to undergo extensive training, often starting as apprentices at the age of 12, and could take up to a decade to fully master their trade. In addition to wheelwrights, charioteers and stable hands played crucial roles in the maintenance routine. Charioteers, responsible for driving the chariots, were expected to have a basic understanding of wheel mechanics to perform minor repairs on site. Stable hands assisted in the routine inspections, ensuring that all equipment was prepared before any races or trips. The job descriptions of these roles were distinctly outlined in various training manuals from the 1st century CE. A wheelwright was expected to possess knowledge of woodcraft, an understanding of weight distribution, and familiarity with the various types of chariots. Their responsibilities included crafting and repairing wheels, performing inspections, and maintaining a supply of necessary materials. Charioteers, on the other hand, were primarily tasked with driving the chariots, but they were also expected to conduct pre-race checks of the wheels and report any issues. Stable hands were often considered entry-level positions, focusing on basic maintenance tasks and assisting experienced personnel. Technical specifications for Roman chariot wheels were codified in various treatises, with detailed descriptions of dimensions, weights, and material properties. A standard wheel for a biga, for example, typically weighed between 10 to 12 kilograms. The spokes were generally around 2.5 centimeters in diameter, while the rims were approximately 5 centimeters in width. In 62 CE, a technical manual was published, detailing the recommended specifications for racing chariot wheels. This manual included guidelines for the optimal wheel diameter based on the weight of the chariot, the racing conditions, and the type of terrain. It was suggested that wheels with a diameter of 1.0 meter were ideal for soft ground, while slightly larger wheels were preferred for firmer surfaces. The manual also provided recommendations for the treatment of wood to enhance durability. It was advised that the wood should be seasoned for at least 6 months to reduce moisture content, thereby minimizing the risk of warping or splitting during use. Additionally, a mixture of beeswax and animal fat was often applied to the rims to create a protective barrier against moisture and dirt. Moreover, the ongoing evolution of wheel design and maintenance practices reflected broader trends in Roman engineering and culture. As chariot racing grew in popularity, the demand for more specialized wheels led to innovations, such as the introduction of metal reinforcements in the rims. By the late 1st century CE, many wealthier charioteers began to incorporate iron bands into their wheel designs, significantly improving durability and reducing the frequency of repairs. In conclusion, the history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines reveals a complex interplay of materials, methods, and labor that underscored the importance of these vehicles in Roman society. The construction techniques, maintenance procedures, financial implications, personnel roles, and technical specifications all contributed to a system that was both functional and reflective of the era's technological advancements. While this account may appear tedious, it is essential to understand that the meticulous attention to detail in chariot wheel maintenance was critical to the success of Roman transportation and competitive racing, marking an era of innovation that would influence future generations. The construction methods and materials employed in the creation of Roman chariot wheels reflect a meticulous approach that was both practical and innovative for the era. Typically, a chariot wheel consisted of a hub, spokes, and a rim. The hub, generally crafted from solid oak, Quercus robur, measured approximately 40 centimeters in diameter and 15 centimeters in height. This sturdy foundation was essential for supporting the wheel's structure and bearing the weight of the chariot and its occupants. The spokes, usually numbering between 6 and 12 per wheel, were made from lighter woods such as ash, Fraxinus excelsior, or elm, Ulmus minor. The spokes were precisely cut to a length of approximately 80 centimeters, tapering to a diameter of about 3 centimeters at the ends. This design not only reduced the overall weight of the wheel but also allowed for greater agility and speed during races. The rim, which encircled the wheel, was often constructed from iron or a composite of iron and wood. A typical rim measured about 10 centimeters in width and was secured to the wheel using iron nails that were approximately 5 centimeters in length. The use of iron in the rim provided additional strength and durability, enabling the wheel to withstand the stresses imposed by competitive racing and uneven terrain. In terms of maintenance procedures, the Roman approach was both systematic and diligent. Routine inspections of chariot wheels were mandated every 10 days, with a more comprehensive seasonal inspection occurring at the turn of each season, specifically during the Ides of March, the Ides of June, the Ides of September, and the Ides of December. During these inspections, the integrity of the hub, spokes, and rim was meticulously evaluated. To facilitate proper maintenance, tools such as wooden mallets, iron chisels, and measuring calipers were utilized. The wooden mallet, typically carved from beech, Fagus sylvatica, was employed to gently adjust the spokes during repairs. Iron chisels, measuring about 20 centimeters in length and 2 centimeters in width, were used for reshaping and fitting the spokes and rim. Measuring calipers, often made from bronze, had a span of 25 centimeters and were essential for ensuring accurate measurements during repairs. Financial records maintained by Chariot owners reflected the costs associated with wheel construction and maintenance. A single wheel was estimated to cost around 25 denarii for materials, including wood and iron, while labor costs averaged 15 denarii per wheel for skilled laborers. Therefore, the total expense for constructing a complete set of 4 wheels amounted to approximately 160 denarii. This figure was significant, considering the average Roman soldier's annual salary was roughly 900 denarii. The records from the early 2nd century BCE show that, on average, a well-maintained chariot wheel could last between 3 and 5 years before requiring complete replacement. Detailed ledgers from prominent chariot racing factions indicate that the costs of wheel maintenance, including regular inspections and repairs, could range from 10 to 20 denarii per month, depending on the frequency of use and the conditions of the racing environment. Personnel involved in chariot wheel maintenance included a variety of skilled artisans and laborers. The primary role was that of the curriculum, or wheelwright, who specialized in the construction and repair of wheels. The curriculum typically underwent a lengthy apprenticeship, lasting between 3 to 5 years, during which they would learn the intricacies of wood selection, wheel assembly, and maintenance techniques. In addition to the curriculum, the faber, or craftsman, played a critical role in the fabrication of iron components for the wheels. The faber was responsible for forging the nails and rims, ensuring that all ironwork met the required specifications. A talented faber could produce around 50 nails per day, with an additional 20 iron rims crafted weekly. Furthermore, the role of the service, or laborer, should not be overlooked. The service assisted the curriculum and faber in various tasks, such as gathering materials, transporting finished wheels, and performing routine maintenance checks. Laborers were often paid a meager wage of 3 to 5 denarii per day, reflecting the demanding nature of their work. In terms of technical specifications, the Roman chariot wheel adhered to certain standards that were largely agreed upon within the racing community. The diameter of a racing wheel typically ranged from 90 to 100 centimeters, while the width of the rim was standardized at around 10 centimeters. The spacing between spokes was usually consistent, with an average distance of 15 centimeters between adjacent spokes, ensuring even distribution of stress during use. Wheel designs varied according to the specific type of chariot. The biga, a 2-horse chariot, featured smaller and lighter wheels than the quadriga, which was designed for 4 horses. The quadriga's wheels could measure up to 110 centimeters in diameter, necessitating an even greater emphasis on strength and durability. Both designs commonly included a feature known as the spoke socket, which was a crucial component that allowed the spokes to connect securely to the hub. The seasonal inspection timeline also included the examination of wheel alignment, a critical factor in ensuring optimal performance. Alignment checks were performed using a rudimentary method involving a straight wooden beam, measuring approximately 2 meters in length. This beam was placed alongside the chariot to determine whether the wheels were properly aligned. Any deviation could result in uneven wear and increased risk of failure during races. In addition to alignment checks, the seasonal inspections also encompassed an evaluation of the wheel's overall balance. A simple balancing technique involved placing the wheel on a horizontal surface to see if it spun freely without wobbling. If any imbalance was detected, adjustments were made by either replacing spokes or redistributing the weight of the rim. Records from the late Republic indicate that wheel maintenance was not solely the responsibility of individual chariot owners. Racing teams often employed dedicated maintenance crews, particularly for high-stakes events. These crews typically consisted of one curriculum, 2 fabers, and several laborers, all working in tandem to ensure that the chariots were in optimal condition before each race. As the Roman Empire expanded, so too did the complexities of chariot wheel maintenance. The introduction of new materials and techniques from conquered territories led to the gradual evolution of wheel design. By the 1st century CE, it was not uncommon to see wheels constructed with composite materials, including laminated wood and iron alloys, leading to enhanced performance and longevity. The introduction of standardized measurements and specifications across the empire was another significant development in the history of chariot wheel maintenance. The imposition of a comprehensive set of guidelines in 27 BCE by Emperor Augustus established baseline standards for wheel construction and maintenance, facilitating consistency in quality among chariot manufacturers and owners. In conclusion, the history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines reveals a comprehensive and detail-oriented approach that was essential for the success of both transportation and competitive racing. From construction methods and materials to maintenance procedures and personnel, every aspect of wheel management was governed by precision and care. This diligence not only ensured the smooth operation of chariots but also laid the groundwork for advancements in wheeled transportation that would resonate through centuries to come. The construction methods employed in the creation of Roman chariot wheels were as meticulous as they were essential. The wheel structure typically consisted of a hub, spokes, and a rim, with each component crafted from specific materials that varied based on availability and desired attributes. The hub, central to the wheel's integrity, was generally constructed from hardwood, with oak being the most favored due to its strength and resistance to wear. Measurements for the hub usually ranged from 30 to 40 centimeters in diameter, while the width varied from 20 to 25 centimeters. The spokes, which connected the hub to the rim, were also typically made from hardwood, commonly ash or elm, known for their resilience and flexibility. Spokes were commonly fashioned to be 1.5 to 2 centimeters in diameter and measured about 90 to 110 centimeters in length, depending on the diameter of the wheel. The rim, crucial for protecting the wheel and providing a smooth surface for rolling, was often made from iron or heavier wood, with iron becoming increasingly popular from the 1st century BCE onward. When iron was used, the rim was typically about 5 centimeters in width and around 2 centimeters thick, allowing it to withstand significant forces during use. Maintenance procedures for chariot wheels were governed by a strict regimen that included regular inspections and repairs. Seasonal inspections were conducted semi-annually, coinciding with the onset of spring and autumn. These inspections were formalized processes, typically conducted by appointed personnel known as carpentarii, carpenters, who specialized in wheel construction and maintenance. During these inspections, the following steps were generally adhered to. 1. Visual inspection. The wheel was thoroughly examined for cracks in the hub, spokes, and rim. Any signs of wear or damage were documented meticulously. 2. Tightening of components. All spokes were checked for tightness, with any loose spokes being reinserted and secured using wooden wedges or iron clamps. 3. Lubrication. The hub was lubricated using animal fat or olive oil to ensure smooth rotation. This step was critical, as friction could lead to rapid wear. 4. Rim assessment. The rim was inspected for any signs of deformation or excessive wear, particularly if iron was used. If the rim was found to be excessively worn, it was replaced entirely or reinforced by welding additional iron segments. 5. Alignment check. The alignment of the wheel was checked to ensure that it rotated without wobbling, which could lead to further structural failures. These maintenance procedures were documented in detailed financial records, which revealed the costs associated with each step. For instance, the cost of a single wooden wool rim in 27 BCE was recorded at approximately 20 denarii, while the labor cost for a carpenter was about 3 denarii per day. This labor cost remained relatively stable through the 1st century CE, although it fluctuated slightly depending on the availability of skilled workers. The financial records, meticulously kept by the chariot owners, provided insights into the economic aspects of wool maintenance. In a typical year, a chariot owner might spend around 50 to 100 denarii on wool maintenance alone. This expenditure covered not only the replacement of worn components but also the labor costs associated with the seasonal inspections and necessary repairs. Records from 75 CE indicate an average maintenance expenditure of 80 denarii, highlighting the significant investment required to ensure the reliability and efficiency of chariot wheels. In terms of personnel, the roles associated with chariot wheel maintenance were well defined. The principal figure, the magister, was responsible for overseeing the entire maintenance operation. This individual typically possessed extensive knowledge of wheel construction and maintenance protocols, often having trained as a carpenter or blacksmith. The magister's duties included scheduling inspections, managing financial records, and training apprentices. The apprentices, known as discipuli, were tasked with assisting in inspections and performing basic maintenance tasks under the guidance of the magister. These individuals typically served a training period of 3 to 5 years, during which they learned the intricacies of wheel construction and maintenance. Their responsibilities included gathering tools, assisting in the tightening of spokes, and applying lubricants. In addition to the magister and apprentices, specialized roles such as the ferrarius, blacksmith, were essential for maintaining iron rims and other metal components. The ferrarius was responsible for shaping and welding iron, ensuring that the rims could withstand the rigors of travel. This role required knowledge of metallurgy and the ability to manipulate iron at high temperatures, with blacksmithing techniques evolving significantly throughout the Roman Empire. Technical specifications for chariot wheels were dictated by practical considerations, including the type of terrain they were intended to traverse. Standard wheel sizes varied, with racing chariots often featuring smaller diameters, approximately 70 to 80 centimeters, to increase speed. In contrast, heavier transport chariots used more robust wheels with diameters ranging from 90 to 120 centimeters, designed to support greater loads. The width of the wheels also varied based on their intended use. Racing wheels were typically narrower, around 5 to 10 centimeters, while transport wheels were broader, measuring between 15 to 20 centimeters. This width was essential for stability, particularly when navigating uneven terrain or carrying heavy loads. The construction of the wheel itself was not merely a technical endeavor but also an art form. The decorative aspects of chariot wheels, such as painted designs or inlaid materials, also played a role in their construction, with specific motifs indicating ownership or status. Records from 45 CE suggest that certain decorative patterns required additional labor and materials, thus increasing the overall cost of the wheel. Roman chariot wheels were designed to accommodate a variety of axle configurations as well. Axles were typically made of hardwood, measuring between 2 and 5 centimeters in diameter and ranging from 1 to 2 meters in length. The axle's ends were often fitted with bearings made from bronze or iron, allowing for smoother rotation and reducing friction, which was particularly critical for racing chariots. The seasonal inspection timelines, established during the early Republic, remained remarkably consistent over the centuries, reflecting the Romans' commitment to maintaining their transportation infrastructure. In addition to the semi-annual inspections, spontaneous inspections could occur, particularly following significant events such as military campaigns or public games, where the integrity of chariots would be paramount. In summary, the meticulous practices surrounding Roman chariot wheel maintenance encapsulated a blend of practical craftsmanship, economic considerations, and cultural significance. The systems established for construction, maintenance, and inspection not only ensured the functionality of chariots but also contributed to the broader advancements in transportation methods that would influence subsequent civilizations. The detailed records of financial expenditures, personnel roles, and technical specifications reveal a society that placed immense value on the reliability of their wheeled vehicles, reflecting the importance of chariots in both daily life and grander societal functions. The legacy of these protocols and practices continues to resonate through the ages, providing insight into the meticulous nature of Roman engineering and the societal structures that supported such endeavors. It is within this framework of diligence and precision that one can appreciate the enduring significance of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and their impact on the development of wheeled transportation in the centuries that followed. The construction methods and materials utilized in the fabrication of Roman chariot wheels were paramount to their durability and efficiency. The wheels were predominantly constructed from a combination of wood, metal, and, on occasion, leather. The principal wood used was oak, Quercus spp, chosen for its strength and ability to withstand the rigors of chariot racing and transportation. The diameter of a typical chariot wheel ranged from 1.2 meters to 1.5 meters, with a width of approximately 0.15 meters. The spokes, which were typically 6 to 8 in number, were hewn from the same oak timber, each measuring around 2.5 to 3 centimeters in diameter and secured tightly into a central hub. The hub itself was a solid piece of oak, often reinforced with iron bands, which measured about 30 centimeters in diameter and 20 centimeters in height. The outer rim of the wheel, often referred to as the felloe, was sometimes fashioned from ash, Fraxinus spp, which offered a lighter alternative to oak while maintaining structural integrity. The felloes typically measured 10 centimeters in width and were fastened to the spokes using wooden pegs or dowels, which were inserted into pre-drilled holes and secured with animal glue. In terms of maintenance procedures, the Roman charioteers adhered to a meticulous schedule. A comprehensive annual inspection was mandated, typically conducted in the spring months of March and April. This inspection involved disassembly of the wheel to assess wear and tear on the spokes and hub. Each spoke was examined for cracks or signs of warping, and any defective spokes would be replaced. The wooden components were treated with a mixture of olive oil and beeswax to prevent rot and enhance water resistance. Additionally, a more frequent inspection took place bi-monthly, during which the wheels were visually inspected for alignment and structural soundness. The chariot was lifted from the ground, and the wheels were spun to check for wobbling, an indication of misalignment. Any misalignment was corrected using a simple wooden jig that allowed for adjustments to be made by loosening and retightening the spokes. Financial records and costs associated with chariot wheel maintenance were meticulously documented in ledgers maintained by chariot owners and teams. The cost of constructing a single wheel in the early 1st century CE ranged from 5 to 10 denarii, depending on the quality of materials used and the craftsmanship involved. This cost would include not only the raw materials but also labor costs associated with skilled craftsmen, known as fabrici, who specialized in wheel construction. The labor cost alone could account for up to 50% of the total expense, with skilled laborers earning approximately 2 denarii per day. In the larger context of chariot racing, where the maintenance of wheels was crucial for performance, teams would often allocate a budget of 100 denarii per season for wheel upkeep, which included the cost of inspections, repairs, and the replacement of any worn-out parts. This budget was often recorded in detailed financial logs, which noted the date of each expense, the specific parts purchased, and the names of the craftsmen involved in the repairs. Personnel involved in the maintenance of chariot wheels included a variety of specialized roles. The primary individual responsible for wheel maintenance was the faber, a skilled craftsman trained in all aspects of wheel construction and repair. The faber would often oversee a small team of apprentices, typically aged between 12 and 18, who assisted in tasks such as gathering materials, preparing the wood, and performing basic repairs. The pictor, or painter, was another critical role, although indirectly related to maintenance. This individual would be responsible for the aesthetic aspects of the chariot, including the decorative painting of the wheels. While this was not a maintenance task per se, the preservation of paint and decorative elements was essential for maintaining the overall appearance and value of the chariot. The technical specifications of Roman chariot wheels reflect an advanced understanding of engineering principles for the time. The wheels were designed to be lightweight yet robust, allowing for maximum speed during races. The use of a spoked design, as opposed to solid wheels, significantly reduced the overall weight. The average weight of a completed chariot wheel ranged from 20 to 25 kilograms, depending on the materials used and the size of the wheel. The spoke arrangement typically adhered to a radial pattern, which optimized strength while minimizing material use. Each spoke was set at an angle of approximately 15 degrees to the hub, creating a triangular structure that effectively distributed load and stress across the wheel. Additionally, the spacing between spokes was carefully calculated to ensure even weight distribution. A standard wheel would have spokes spaced approximately 12 to 15 centimeters apart. In the context of seasonal inspections, a systematic approach was adopted to ensure that wheels were prepared for the varying conditions of Roman roads. The Roman Empire's extensive road network, which reached over 400,000 kilometers at its peak, presented a variety of challenges, from well-maintained thoroughfares to rough, uneven paths. As a result, the seasonal inspection protocols were adjusted based on anticipated road conditions. Prior to the winter months, a thorough inspection was conducted to reinforce the wheels against the harsher conditions of rain and mud. This included applying additional layers of protective oils and inspecting the integrity of the felloes, as wet conditions could lead to swelling and warping of the wood. In contrast, inspections conducted before the summer racing season in June focused on ensuring that the wheels were lightweight and responsive, often involving the removal of any excess material that may have been added during winter reinforcement. The records of these inspections, along with any repairs conducted, were meticulously documented in what were known as libri de re vehicularis, a form of ledger that indicated the condition of each wheel, any actions taken, and the materials used. These documents often included annotations regarding the specific date of the inspection, the personnel involved, and any identified issues. Such records were crucial not only for maintaining the Chariot's operational readiness but also for tracking the performance of specific wheels over time. The evolution of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols can be traced through various historical texts and inscriptions. The writings of Vitruvius in the 1st century BCE provide insights into the engineering principles behind wheel construction and the importance of maintenance. His treatises emphasize the necessity of regular inspections and the use of quality materials, which would become foundational principles for future generations. In conclusion, the meticulous attention to detail in the construction and maintenance of Roman chariot wheels reflects a broader understanding of engineering and logistics that was critical to the success of Roman transportation networks. The protocols established during this era laid the groundwork for future advancements in wheel design and maintenance, influencing the development of wheeled vehicles well into the medieval period and beyond. As such, the study of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols not only serves as a window into the daily lives of ancient Romans but also illustrates the enduring legacy of their engineering achievements. The tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines, Part 6. Regional variations and comparisons. The maintenance of chariot wheels and the adherence to inspection protocols varied considerably across the vast territories of the Roman Empire. In the northern provinces, such as Britannia and Germania, the climate presented unique challenges that necessitated specific adaptations in wheel maintenance practices. The damp and often muddy conditions led to an increased rate of wear on wooden components, particularly the spokes and hubs. Thus, a more frequent inspection schedule was mandated, often bi-weekly during the rainy season, to ensure the structural integrity of the chariots. Conversely, in the arid regions of North Africa, where the heat could warp wooden wheels, the focus shifted to preventative measures against dehydration and cracking. Artisans in these areas developed specialized oil treatments derived from local olive trees that were applied to the wheels to maintain flexibility and prevent fissures. The use of these oils became a regional hallmark, with variations in technique that reflected local agricultural practices and available resources. In the Mediterranean heartland, particularly in regions like Italy and Greece, the emphasis on aesthetics and craftsmanship influenced wheel maintenance protocols. Chariots were often ornately decorated, necessitating the use of softer woods that, while visually appealing, required more diligent upkeep. The protocols in these areas included not only regular inspections but also cleaning rituals that involved the gentle application of scented oils to maintain both function and form. The meticulous nature of these practices reflected a cultural appreciation for beauty, which extended to the very wheels that bore them into competition and daily transport. Evolution over different time periods. The evolution of chariot wheel maintenance protocols can be traced through several distinct phases, each corresponding to broader technological and social changes within the Roman Empire. During the early Republic, chariot wheels were primarily constructed from local timber and crafted by individual artisans. The maintenance was rudimentary, focusing on basic checks for structural soundness and the occasional replacement of worn spokes. As the empire expanded and trade routes developed, new materials began to influence wheel construction. The introduction of iron fittings for hubs and rims during the late Republic marked a significant shift, necessitating more rigorous maintenance practices to accommodate the new materials. By the time of the late Empire, the proliferation of chariot racing as a popular pastime led to the establishment of specialized workshops dedicated solely to wheel production and maintenance. These workshops employed skilled laborers who not only produced wheels but also became experts in their upkeep. The maintenance protocols became increasingly formalized, with the creation of seasonal inspection timelines that aligned with the racing calendar. This period saw a greater emphasis on documentation, with records detailing the specific maintenance conducted on each chariot wheel, including measurements, materials used, and any repairs performed. Bureaucratic regulations and laws. The bureaucratic landscape surrounding chariot wheel maintenance was as intricate as the wheels themselves. In the latter half of the empire, several decrees were enacted that mandated specific standards for wheel construction and maintenance. The Lex de Curibus, a set of legal guidelines established by Emperor Augustus, outlined the required dimensions for wheels used in public races. Failure to adhere to these specifications could result in fines or disqualification from competition, thereby incentivizing chariot owners and drivers to maintain their wheels to a high standard. Furthermore, local magistrates were tasked with enforcing these regulations, conducting inspections prior to major races or public games. These inspections were not merely cursory, they involved a thorough examination of the wheel for any signs of wear, improper fittings, or even aesthetic issues that could reflect poorly on the owner. The bureaucratic oversight extended to the supply chain as well, regulating the types of wood and metal that could be used in wheel construction. The imperial government sought to ensure that only the highest quality materials were employed, which, in turn, necessitated a robust logistics network to manage the flow of these materials from various provinces. Supply chain and logistics. The logistics of chariot wheel maintenance were inherently complex, necessitating a well-organized supply chain that could accommodate the diverse needs of the empire. The raw materials required, timber, iron, and leather, were sourced from various regions, each with its unique characteristics and qualities. For instance, the famed oak trees of Gaul were preferred for their durability and strength, while the lighter woods from Hispania were often chosen for chariots intended for speed. Transporting these materials within the empire was a monumental task, often involving a combination of river and overland routes. The Roman road system, famed for its engineering prowess, facilitated the movement of goods and artisans alike. Chariot workshops often maintained relationships with local suppliers, resulting in a network of tradespeople who specialized in specific aspects of wheel construction. The procurement of iron, particularly, was subject to the fluctuations of availability based on military needs. During campaigns, the demand for metal could outstrip supply for civilian purposes, directly impacting wheel maintenance practices. Additionally, the seasonal nature of chariot racing meant that workshops had to prepare in advance for peak periods, stockpiling materials and scheduling labor to ensure that they could meet the demands of chariot owners. This foresight was crucial. A missed inspection or maintenance failure could mean not just a lost race but potentially significant financial repercussions for the owners. Record-keeping methods. The meticulous nature of wheel maintenance and inspection necessitated a robust system of record-keeping. Artisans and workshop owners developed various methods to document their practices, often utilizing wax tablets for their portability and ease of use. Each inspection would be logged with details such as the date, the condition of the wheel, any repairs made, and materials used. In larger workshops, dedicated scribes might be employed to maintain these records, ensuring that each chariot's maintenance history was preserved for future reference. Over time, we see the evolution of these record-keeping practices. By the late Empire, more standardized forms of documentation emerged. Chariot owners often kept their own records, which would include not only inspection logs but also financial accounts detailing expenditures on materials and labor. This dual record-keeping system allowed for better financial oversight and planning, as well as a clearer picture of maintenance history. In some cases, the records were also used for legal purposes, as disputes over ownership or maintenance could arise. A well-maintained log served as proof that a chariot was kept in good condition, potentially absolving owners of responsibility for accidents or failures. The importance of these records cannot be overstated, as they became a crucial aspect of the broader bureaucratic system that governed not just chariot racing but also trade and commerce throughout the empire. Conclusion. In summary, the history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines is a testament to the complexities of daily life in the Roman Empire. The regional variations in practices, the evolution over time, and the intricate bureaucratic regulations all contributed to a rich tapestry of knowledge and practice surrounding this mundane yet essential aspect of Roman transport. The supply chain logistics ensured that artisans had access to necessary materials, while robust record-keeping methods maintained the integrity of these practices. As we delve deeper into the minutiae of this topic, it becomes clear that even the most seemingly trivial aspects of ancient life can reveal profound insights into the culture, economy, and governance of the time. The tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines. Part 7. Regional variations and comparisons. The Roman Empire, sprawling across vast territories, was home to a multitude of cultures, climates, and geographical features, each influencing the local practices surrounding chariot wheel maintenance. Such regional variations were not merely anecdotal, they reflected the empire's adaptability in terms of logistics, materials, and prevailing local customs. In the arid regions of North Africa, where the sand could accumulate around the axle and wheel spokes, wheel maintenance often emphasized the necessity of periodic sand removal and the application of oils derived from local olive trees. This practice served a dual purpose. It not only reduced friction but also provided a protective coating against the abrasive qualities of the desert sands. Conversely, in the damp, temperate climates of Gaul, chariot wheels were subjected to the ravages of mud and moisture. The Gauls adopted a more rigorous inspection regimen, often utilizing a communal approach, where local craftsmen would gather to inspect and maintain their wheels collectively. This social aspect not only fostered community but also ensured that no wheel went unchecked for too long. Furthermore, the materials used in wheel construction varied significantly between regions. In Hispania, where oak was plentiful, chariot wheels were often constructed from this durable wood, while in the mountainous regions of the Alps, craftsmen preferred the lighter yet sturdy larch. Each material required distinct maintenance protocols. For instance, the resinous quality of oak necessitated less frequent oiling compared to the porous nature of larch, which would absorb moisture and require more diligent attention. Evolution over different time periods. The evolution of chariot wheel maintenance protocols can be traced through the annals of Roman history, illustrating a gradual transformation influenced by technological advancements and changing societal needs. In the early Republic, chariot wheels were rudimentary in design, often consisting of solid wooden discs with minimal embellishments. Maintenance at this stage was predominantly focused on structural integrity and basic functionality. The wheels were often replaced entirely when worn, rather than repaired, which was a more common practice in later periods. By the late Republic and into the early Imperial period, advancements in metallurgy allowed for the introduction of iron bands around wooden wheels, significantly improving durability. This innovation necessitated a shift in maintenance protocols, as the iron components required different treatment to prevent rust. Seasonal inspections began to incorporate not only visual checks for wear but also tactile assessments where wheelwrights would hammer lightly on the bands to detect any signs of weakness or loosening. The height of chariot culture during the reign of Emperor Nero saw a proliferation of ornate wheels adorned with intricate carvings and inlays. Maintenance protocols during this opulent period included not only structural checks but also aesthetic evaluations. Wheelwrights were trained to assess whether the artistry had been compromised by wear or environmental factors, thus intertwining maintenance with artistry for the first time. Bureaucratic regulations and laws. As with many aspects of Roman life, the maintenance of chariot wheels was not exempt from bureaucratic oversight. The Lex Julia de Repetundis, enacted in 149 BC, laid the groundwork for legal stipulations surrounding the maintenance of public transport systems, which included the upkeep of chariots. This law mandated that wheelwrights and chariot owners maintain their vehicles to a standard deemed safe for public use. Violations could result in hefty fines or, in egregious cases, the confiscation of the chariot itself. In addition to this overarching legislation, local magistrates often enacted more specific rules tailored to their regions. In cities like Pompeii, where the spectacle of chariot racing was a popular pastime, local ordinances required that all chariots undergo inspections before racing events. These inspections were meticulously documented, with records detailing the date, the wheelwright's name, and the specific maintenance performed. Such regulations ensured a degree of safety and standardization across the empire, albeit with varying degrees of enforcement. The bureaucratic landscape also saw the establishment of guilds for wheelwrights, wherein members adhered to a code of conduct that included maintaining accurate records of their maintenance activities. These guilds provided a framework for quality control and professional development, often hosting workshops to educate members on the latest techniques and materials in wheel maintenance. Supply chain and logistics. The logistics of sourcing materials for chariot wheel maintenance presented a complex web that required adept management. Different regions specialized in various resources, necessitating a supply chain that spanned the breadth of the empire. For instance, the iron used for wheel bands was often mined in the mountainous regions of Noricum, while fine woods for wheel construction were sourced from the forests of Gaul and Hispania. Transportation of these materials was a gargantuan task. The Romans utilized an extensive network of roads, which were meticulously maintained, to facilitate the movement of goods. Chariot wheels, particularly those commissioned for elite racing teams, might be transported across hundreds of miles, requiring careful logistics planning. The use of carts and pack animals was standard practice, and records show that specialized teams were often employed to ensure timely deliveries. The synchronization of supply chains also extended to the seasonal maintenance cycles. As the Romans developed a more systematic approach to wheel inspections, they began to align the availability of materials with the timing of inspections. For example, local wheelwrights would coordinate their schedules with the harvest seasons, ensuring that sufficient quantities of flax or olive oil were available for lubrication during peak maintenance periods. Record-keeping methods. The meticulous nature of chariot wheel maintenance necessitated robust record-keeping methods, which evolved significantly throughout the empire's history. Early records were often inscribed on wax tablets, which were both portable and reusable, allowing craftsmen to document inspections and maintenance tasks without the burden of permanent materials. These tablets would typically include details such as the date, the specific tasks performed, and any observations regarding the condition of the wheels. As the empire advanced, so too did the complexity of record-keeping practices. With the advent of papyrus and later parchment, records became more durable and accessible. Wheelwrights often maintained detailed logs, which included not only their maintenance routines but also notes on innovations in techniques or materials that they encountered. This documentation was crucial for ensuring that knowledge was passed down through generations. Moreover, the practice of keeping records extended beyond individual wheelwrights to encompass guilds and local government. Annual inspections mandated by local magistrates required comprehensive reports that would be archived for future reference. These records served a dual purpose. They provided accountability for craftsmen and enabled the authorities to monitor compliance with regulations. In addition to maintenance records, the burgeoning interest in chariot racing led to the creation of extensive archives detailing the performance of various chariots and their wheels during races. These archives became invaluable for strategists and racers alike, who analyzed the success of different wheel designs and maintenance protocols in the heat of competition. Conclusion. The history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines reveals a tapestry woven from the threads of regional diversity, bureaucratic oversight, evolving technologies, logistical challenges, and meticulous record-keeping. Each of these elements contributed to a culture that, while seemingly mundane, laid the groundwork for the efficient transport and communication systems that characterized the Roman Empire. By examining the minute details of wheel maintenance, we gain insight not only into the practicalities of Roman life but also into the intricate social and economic networks that underpinned one of history's most influential civilizations. This comprehensive look into the interplay of these factors illustrates that even within the most tedious and mundane aspects of history, a rich narrative unfolds, one that continues to resonate with the complexities of human ingenuity and adaptability. The tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines. Part 8. Regional Variations and Comparisons. The maintenance of chariot wheels in ancient Rome was not a monolithic practice, rather, it was subject to considerable regional variation influenced by local customs, available materials, and geographic conditions. For instance, in the fertile plains of the Po Valley, where timber was abundant and easily accessible, wheel construction often employed local varieties of oak and ash. The dense and resilient nature of these woods contributed to the longevity and durability of the chariot wheels crafted in this region. In contrast, the arid climate of North Africa necessitated the use of lighter materials, such as palm wood, which, while less durable, allowed for greater maneuverability across sandy terrains. In the mountainous regions of the Alps, chariot wheels were often reinforced with iron bands, a practice that was not as prevalent in the flatter regions of Italy, where the smoothness of the terrain reduced the necessity for such reinforcements. These adaptations underscore the significance of regional environmental factors in shaping maintenance practices, where local wheelwrights would develop unique techniques and protocols to address specific challenges presented by their surroundings. Moreover, interregional chariot races led to a fascinating exchange of maintenance practices. For instance, the famed Circus Maximus in Rome attracted competitors from distant provinces, and many of these participants would bring with them their own wheel maintenance traditions. The result was a dynamic blend of techniques and protocols, leading to the incorporation of various inspection rituals and maintenance schedules, ultimately enriching the overall body of knowledge regarding chariot wheel care. Part 9. Evolution over different time periods. The evolution of chariot wheel maintenance protocols can be divided into distinct chronological phases, each marked by advancements in technology, shifts in societal structure, and changes in the cultural significance of chariotry. During the early Republic, circa 509 to 27 BCE, the focus was primarily on functionality, with rudimentary maintenance practices emphasizing basic repairs and inspections. Wheelwrights relied on traditionally passed-down techniques, with little formal documentation. As Rome transitioned into the imperial period, 27 BCE, 476 CE, the role of chariots evolved, particularly in the context of public spectacles and the military. The increased emphasis on chariot racing, especially at venues like the Circus Maximus, led to a more systematic approach to wheel maintenance, as the need for speed and reliability became paramount. This era saw the establishment of guilds for wheelwrights, which not only standardized practices but also established a framework for training apprentices in the nuances of wheel care. By the late Empire, 3rd to 5th century CE, a burgeoning bureaucracy began to impose regulations governing the maintenance of chariot wheels, reflecting the growing complexity of Roman society. The introduction of official inspection schedules, which mandated seasonal checks of wheels before major events, exemplifies this shift towards a more structured and regulated approach. It was during this period that the first comprehensive treatises on wheel maintenance began to appear, documenting everything from the types of wood suitable for wheel construction to the precise angles for tire placement. Part 10: Bureaucratic Regulations and Laws. The burgeoning bureaucracy of the Roman Empire inevitably extended its reach into the realm of chariot wheel maintenance, resulting in a slew of regulations designed to ensure safety and performance standards. The Lex Chariotum of 200 CE, for instance, mandated that all chariots participating in public games underwent an inspection by a licensed wheelwright no less than 2 days prior to the event. This law not only aimed to prevent accidents during races but also sought to protect the interests of sponsors and spectators alike, who had invested time and resources into these spectacles. In addition to safety regulations, the bureaucratic framework also included stipulations regarding the proper documentation of maintenance activities. Wheelwrights were required to keep detailed records of inspections, repairs, and any modifications made to the wheels. This led to an elaborate system of record-keeping, wherein wheelwrights would often draft scrolls that meticulously documented the materials used, the specific techniques applied, and the dates of inspections. These records were not merely bureaucratic formalities, they served crucial purposes in terms of accountability and traceability. In case of an accident, these documents could be summoned in legal proceedings to ascertain liability. As a result, the meticulous nature of record-keeping became a hallmark of the chariot wheel maintenance industry, with some wheelwrights even developing their own shorthand to expedite the documentation process. Part 11: Supply Chain and Logistics. The logistics of chariot wheel maintenance extended far beyond the confines of the workshop. It encompassed an intricate supply chain that involved the procurement of raw materials, collaboration with other artisans, and the management of inventory. The sourcing of timber, for example, was a vital aspect of wheel maintenance. Different regions produced various types of wood, each with distinct characteristics that affected the performance of chariot wheels. As such, Wheelwrights often established relationships with local timber merchants, negotiating contracts that ensured a steady supply of high-quality materials. The transportation of these materials presented its own set of challenges. Chariot wheels, particularly when assembled, could be cumbersome to transport. Consequently, wheelwrights would often utilize local cartage services to move their products, resulting in a network of logistics that connected workshops to racing venues and marketplaces. This network was essential for ensuring that wheels were available for seasonal inspections and repairs in a timely manner. Additionally, the market for spare parts grew as chariot racing became more popular. Wheelwrights began to stockpile commonly used components, such as spokes, hubs, and iron bands, which could be quickly replaced during maintenance sessions. The rise of specialized suppliers who focused solely on these components further streamlined the supply chain, allowing wheelwrights to access necessary parts with greater efficiency. Part 12. Record-keeping methods. The importance of record-keeping in the realm of chariot wheel maintenance cannot be overstated. Wheelwrights utilized a variety of methods to document their work, ranging from simple ledger entries to more complex scrolls that detailed every aspect of wheel maintenance. The use of wax tablets, for instance, was common among wheelwrights who needed a portable and reusable means of recording their observations and maintenance activities. These tablets could be inscribed with a stylus and later smoothed out for reuse, providing an economical solution for record keeping. In addition to wax tablets, some wheelwrights turned to papyrus scrolls, especially in urban centers where literacy rates were higher. These scrolls allowed for more extensive documentation, including sketches of wheel designs and annotations on maintenance techniques. The use of ink made the records more permanent, preserving the knowledge that could be passed down to future generations of wheelwrights. Moreover, the integration of these records into broader administrative practices within the Roman Empire highlights the interconnectedness of various sectors. The meticulous records kept by wheelwrights often found their way into larger municipal accounts, where they contributed to the economic data utilized by local governments. This practice not only underscored the significance of chariotry in Roman society but also illustrated the role of chariot wheel maintenance within the broader framework of Roman administrative and economic life. Conclusion. In conclusion, the multifaceted history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines reveals a complex interplay of regional variations, evolving practices, bureaucratic regulations, supply chain intricacies, and meticulous record-keeping methods. Each of these elements contributed to the establishment of a robust framework for ensuring the safety and efficacy of chariot wheels, reflecting the broader socio-economic structures of ancient Rome. Through a detailed examination of these mundane yet essential aspects, we gain insight into the daily lives of those who engaged in the labor of maintenance, as well as the cultural significance of chariotry within Roman society. The tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines, Part 9, an exploration of regional variations and comparisons, evolution over time, bureaucratic regulations, supply chain logistics, and record-keeping methods. The history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols is not merely a monolithic entity, rather, it encapsulates a rich tapestry of regional variations and comparisons that reflect the diversity of Roman society itself. As the Roman Empire expanded across the Mediterranean and into the hinterlands of Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Near East, the practices surrounding chariot wheel maintenance evolved in response to local conditions, materials, and technological innovations. This section will delve into these regional variations, the evolution of maintenance practices over different time periods, the bureaucratic frameworks that govern such practices, the complex supply chains that underpin them, and the meticulous record-keeping methods that chronicle this intricate web of maintenance and inspection protocols. Regional variations and comparisons. In the vast expanse of the Roman Empire, chariot wheel maintenance practices varied significantly between regions. In the heart of Italy, particularly in Rome, the maintenance of chariot wheels was often overseen by well-trained artisans known as fabbri. These craftsmen utilized local timber, primarily oak and ash, which were abundant in the region. The wheels typically featured a solid wooden rim, meticulously shaped and fitted to ensure optimal performance. The Romans employed iron bands, known as feria, that were heated and then hammered onto the wheel for added durability, a practice that became a hallmark of Roman engineering. Contrastingly, in the provinces of Gaul, where the climate and terrain differed markedly, local variations emerged. The Celts, who inhabited this region before Roman conquest, had established their own methods of wheel construction, often favoring wider rims to navigate the marshy landscapes. The incorporation of iron into their wheel design was less prevalent initially, leading to a unique approach to wheel maintenance. As Roman influence spread, however, Gaulish artisans began to adopt Roman techniques, merging them with local traditions to create a hybrid form of wheel that bore characteristics of both cultures. In the arid deserts of North Africa, particularly in regions like Numidia, the maintenance protocols adapted to the challenges posed by the environment. The indigenous Berber populations had long relied on lighter, more maneuverable chariots suited for sandy terrain. Maintenance practices focused on reducing weight and improving speed, with wheel designs featuring narrower rims and lighter materials. Local workshops often used palm wood, which, while less durable than oak, provided the necessary flexibility and resilience against the harsh conditions. This regional adaptation illustrates how environmental factors influenced wheel maintenance practices, necessitating a departure from standard Roman methods. Across the eastern provinces, particularly in regions like Syria and Judea, the maintenance of chariot wheels took on a distinctly different character. The integration of Greek and Eastern influences led to the use of more intricate designs, with wheels often featuring decorative motifs carved into the wood. The artisans in these regions were known for their exceptional craftsmanship, and the wheels often became a reflection of social status. Maintenance protocols included not only the physical upkeep of the wheel but also regular inspections that assessed the aesthetic condition, ensuring that the wheels remained a symbol of prestige. Evolution over different time periods. The evolution of chariot wheel maintenance protocols can be traced through several distinct periods, reflecting broader changes in Roman society, technology, and military organization. During the early Republic, maintenance practices were rudimentary, often dictated by necessity rather than regulation. Chariots were primarily used for military purposes, and maintenance became an ad hoc affair, with local soldiers responsible for the upkeep of their own vehicles. As Rome transitioned into the late Republic and the early Empire, the establishment of more formalized bureaucratic structures led to standardized maintenance protocols. The creation of the cursus publicus, the state-sponsored courier and transport system, necessitated a more systematic approach to wheel maintenance. Inspectors, known as curators, were appointed to oversee the condition of transport vehicles, leading to the development of seasonal inspection timelines. These inspections became increasingly rigorous, with detailed records kept to ensure compliance with regulations. The Flavian and Trajantic periods marked a high point in the evolution of chariot wheel maintenance protocols. The construction of extensive road networks facilitated the movement of goods and troops across the empire, necessitating an even greater emphasis on vehicle maintenance. Innovations such as the introduction of standardized wheel sizes and the use of interchangeable parts became commonplace, thereby reducing the time and labor required for repairs. Workshops began to specialize in wheel making, resulting in the emergence of guilds that further regulated maintenance practices. The decline of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century AD brought about a regression in maintenance protocols. The collapse of centralized authority led to a fragmentation of practices, with local artisans often reverting to pre-Roman methods. The intricate bureaucratic regulations that had once governed maintenance were abandoned, leading to a significant decline in the quality and durability of chariot wheels. Bureaucratic regulations and laws. The bureaucratic regulations surrounding chariot wheel maintenance were extensive and multifaceted. Central to these regulations was the establishment of the Lex Irnitana, a legal code that dictated the standards for vehicle maintenance, including chariot wheels. This code mandated that all chariots intended for public use underwent annual inspections conducted by certified inspectors. These inspectors were required to maintain detailed records of their findings, documenting not only the condition of the wheels but also any repairs made. In addition to the Lex Irnitana, local municipalities often enacted their own regulations tailored to regional needs. For instance, in urban centers like Pompeii, specific laws were established to ensure that chariots operating within the city limits adhered to stringent maintenance standards. Failure to comply could result in fines or even the confiscation of the vehicle. This emphasis on regulation underscores the importance of chariot wheels not only as functional components but also as symbols of civic responsibility. The bureaucratic framework was further complicated by the involvement of military authorities, particularly in the context of the Roman legions. Each legion was required to maintain a fleet of chariots for transport and communication purposes. The legatus, a high-ranking officer, was responsible for ensuring that all chariots under his command met the prescribed maintenance standards. This military oversight led to the establishment of a hierarchy of inspections, with lower-ranking officers conducting routine checks before escalating issues to higher authorities. Supply chain and logistics. The maintenance of chariot wheels was deeply intertwined with the broader supply chain and logistics of the Roman Empire. The procurement of materials such as timber, iron, and tools was a complex process that involved coordination across vast distances. Local workshops relied on a network of suppliers, often facilitated through the cursus publicus, to obtain the necessary resources for wool construction and repair. Timber, particularly oak and ash, was sourced from forested regions, with specialized teams of workers tasked with harvesting and transporting the lumber to workshops. The logistics of transporting heavy materials were daunting, requiring the use of oxen-drawn carts and navigable roadways. In regions with scarce resources, such as the deserts of North Africa, artisans often relied on trade connections with neighboring regions to procure materials. This interdependence highlights the intricate web of supply chains that underpinned Roman chariot wheel maintenance. Iron, a critical component for reinforcing wheel rims, was often produced in specialized foundries that operated under the auspices of local governments. The production of iron was a labor-intensive process, requiring skilled blacksmiths who could not only forge the necessary components but also ensure that they met the required specifications. The movement of iron goods across the empire was facilitated by a network of roads and waterways, further demonstrating the logistical complexities involved in maintaining chariot wheels. Record-keeping methods. The meticulous record-keeping methods employed by Roman authorities regarding chariot wheel maintenance were essential for ensuring compliance with regulations and facilitating efficient logistics. In urban centers, records were often maintained in tabulae, wax tablets that allowed for easy updates and corrections. These tablets were used to document inspections, repairs, and the procurement of materials. Over time, as the complexity of maintenance protocols increased, the records became more detailed, often including sketches of wheel designs and lists of materials used. In military contexts, the practice of record-keeping was further formalized. Each legion maintained a logbook, known as liber rationum, where all maintenance activities were recorded. These logbooks included information about the condition of chariot wheels, dates of inspections, and any repairs conducted, as well as notes on the performance of the vehicles during campaigns. This level of detail not only aided in the accountability of officers but also served as a historical record that could be referenced in future maintenance decisions. In conclusion, the history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols is a multifaceted narrative that encompasses regional variations, bureaucratic regulations, and the evolution of practices over time. The complexities of supply chain logistics and meticulous record-keeping methods further illustrate the sophisticated systems in place to ensure the longevity and performance of chariot wheels. As we continue to unravel this tedious history, it is crucial to recognize the interplay of cultural, environmental, and technological factors that shaped the protocols that governed one of antiquity's most enduring symbols of mobility. The tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines. Part 10: Regional Variations and Comparisons. The Roman Empire, at its zenith, encompassed a vast expanse that stretched across Europe, North Africa, and parts of Asia. This geographical diversity inevitably led to regional variations in chariot wheel maintenance protocols due to differing climates, available materials, and local customs. In the temperate regions of Gaul, for example, the abundant forests provided a ready supply of high-quality timber for wheel construction, necessitating a meticulous approach to maintenance that included regular inspections for rot and insect infestation. Local craftsmen, known as fabrici, developed their own sets of tools, including specialized chisels and augers, to ensure the wheel's integrity remained uncompromised. Conversely, in the arid landscapes of North Africa, where the scarcity of timber necessitated the use of metal for wool construction, maintenance practices took on a different character. Here, chariot wheels were often reinforced with iron rims, which required distinct care protocols. The heat of the sun could warp metal, leading to misalignment and increased wear. As such, seasonal inspections in these regions frequently included checks for thermal expansion effects and the subsequent adjustments of wheel components to prevent catastrophic failures during use. These regional practices were not only influenced by the physical environment but also by socio-political factors. In provinces with a more significant military presence, such as Germania, where the chariot was less of a status symbol and more of a practical necessity for troop movement, the emphasis was on functional maintenance. Commanders often imposed strict regulations concerning wheel upkeep, culminating in a structured hierarchy of maintenance overseen by the decuriones or local magistrates. In contrast, in regions like Hispania, where chariots were often used in racing and festivals, aesthetic factors played a prominent role in maintenance protocols, leading to the incorporation of decorative elements alongside functional repairs. Part 11. Evolution over different time periods. As the Roman Empire evolved from the Republic into the imperial phase, so too did the protocols surrounding chariot wheel maintenance. During the early Republic, chariots were primarily used for military purposes, and wheel maintenance was intrinsically linked to warfare logistics. The cursus publicus, the state-run courier and transportation service, necessitated a standardization of wheel maintenance to ensure the prompt delivery of messages and troops. Records from this period indicate that chariot wheels were frequently inspected before long journeys, and any sign of wear was grounds for immediate replacement. As the empire expanded and the civilian use of chariots increased, particularly for racing and ceremonial purposes, the focus of maintenance shifted. By the late imperial period, we see a burgeoning emphasis on craftsmanship and aesthetics. The prestigious circuses, such as the Circus Maximus, became centers for the display of both chariots and their wheels, leading to the establishment of guilds of wheelwrights who specialized in ornate, yet functional, designs. This evolution reflected a broader societal trend where technological advancement began to intertwine with artistic expression. Nonetheless, despite these changes in aesthetics and usage, the underlying principles of maintenance remained rooted in the earlier practices. Documented protocols continued to prioritize inspections for structural integrity, with seasonal inspections mandated by guilds to ensure compliance with regional standards. The introduction of standardized weights and measures for wheel components further facilitated these inspections, allowing chariot owners and maintenance personnel to adhere to an evolving set of best practices. Part 12. Bureaucratic Regulations and Laws. The bureaucratic framework surrounding chariot wheel maintenance was often as intricate as the wheels themselves. Regulatory bodies, such as the censor, oversaw the implementation of laws that governed not just the construction but also the maintenance of chariot wheels. The Lex Julia de Six Privata, enacted in the 1st century BCE, mandated rigorous inspections and maintenance schedules, holding chariot owners accountable for any failures that resulted in accidents. Furthermore, local officials were tasked with enforcing these regulations, often employing a cadre of inspectors known as visitors. These officials conducted regular audits, ensuring that wheels met specified standards of quality. The consequences of neglect could be severe. Fines were levied against those who failed to adhere to the established maintenance protocols, and in extreme cases, charioteers could face expulsion from racing events or public disgrace. The bureaucratic apparatus also extended to the documentation of wheel maintenance activities. Each province was required to maintain detailed records of inspections and repairs, which were to be submitted to the central authorities in Rome. This system of checks and balances not only ensured compliance but also provided a historical record that could be referenced in the event of disputes regarding liability or negligence. Part 13: Supply Chain and Logistics. The logistics of wheel maintenance were intrinsically tied to the broader supply chains that characterized the Roman economy. The procurement of materials for wheel construction and upkeep was a complex endeavor, requiring coordination across vast distances. Timber, metal, and leather for wheel construction had to be sourced from specific regions known for their quality. For instance, the oak from the forests of Gaul was highly prized for its durability, while the iron sourced from the mines in Hispania was renowned for its strength. Transporting these materials, however, presented its own set of challenges. The Roman road network facilitated movement across the empire, but the journey was often fraught with dangers. Banditry, adverse weather, and the physical condition of the roads could impede delivery schedules. As a result, wheelwrights often maintained a stockpile of essential materials, conducting regular inventories to ensure they could respond to urgent maintenance needs without delay. The role of the navicularii, or ship owners, cannot be understated in this context. They played a critical part in the logistics of transporting materials across the Mediterranean and along rivers, ensuring that wheel maintenance supplies were readily available even in the most remote provinces. Contracts detailing the terms of shipment were meticulously drafted, often including clauses that addressed the quality of the materials and the conditions under which they were to be transported, thus further embedding the bureaucratic nature of Roman supply chains. Part 14: Record-keeping methods. The record-keeping methods employed in the context of chariot wheel maintenance were sophisticated for their time, reflecting the Roman commitment to administrative efficiency. The use of tabulae, wooden tablets coated with wax, allowed for a reusable medium to document inspections, repairs, and materials used. Skilled scribes, often trained in the art of liturgy, would meticulously inscribe details regarding each wheel's maintenance history, including dates, findings, and actions taken. In addition to the tabulae, the Romans also employed a system of census to track ownership and maintenance of chariots. This census not only served to maintain a registry of chariot owners but also provided a framework for assessing taxes related to chariot usage. In this way, the bureaucratic mechanisms of record-keeping facilitated a dual purpose. They ensured compliance with maintenance protocols while simultaneously serving the financial interests of the empire. As chariot wheels evolved, so too did the methods of documentation. By the late imperial period, the introduction of papyrus scrolls became more prevalent, particularly in urban centers where access to such materials was readily available. These scrolls allowed for more comprehensive record keeping, accommodating the growing complexity of will maintenance protocols and inspections. The transition from wax tablets to papyrus represented a significant leap in administrative practices, allowing for greater detail and permanence in the records maintained. In conclusion, the history of Roman chariot will maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines is a complex tapestry woven from regional variations, evolving practices, bureaucratic regulations, logistical challenges, and meticulous record-keeping. Each aspect underscores the intricate relationship between technology, society, and governance in the Roman world. While seemingly mundane, these details provide a glimpse into the daily lives of those who participated in this vital aspect of Roman life, ensuring that chariots remained a reliable mode of transportation and a symbol of Roman engineering prowess. The legacy of these protocols, though often overlooked, remains a testament to the civilization's enduring commitment to order, functionality, and excellence. The history of Roman chariot will maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines is a topic that, while seemingly niche, provides a fascinating glimpse into the daily lives of ancient Romans. Within this vast subject, there are numerous avenues worth exploring. #####minor historical figures and their roles. While many historical narratives center around titans such as Julius Caesar and Augustus, the contributions of minor figures to the maintenance and operation of chariot wheels are equally significant, albeit less heralded. Take for instance Gaius Avitus, a local wheelwright in the bustling city of Pompeii. Avitus, whose life spanned the last decades of the 1st century BCE, is often overlooked in favor of the more prominent personalities of his time. However, his meticulous records, preserved in fragments of papyrus discovered during the excavations of Pompeii, shed light on the intricate process of wheel maintenance. Gaius Avitus was responsible not only for the construction of chariot wheels but also for their upkeep. He implemented a system of seasonal inspections, which he meticulously documented. According to these records, he would inspect each wheel for signs of wear and tear at the beginning of spring, just as the racing season commenced. This inspection included checking for cracks in the wood, ensuring that the iron rim was secure, and verifying that the spokes were intact. Avitus's seasonal timeline dictated that a thorough inspection occurred every 3 months, aligning with the agricultural calendar of planting and harvest, which was crucial for ensuring that his clients could engage in races and transportation without delay. ###specific case studies with dates. One of the most illustrative case studies in the realm of Roman chariot wheel maintenance comes from the year 49 BCE, during the civil war between Julius Caesar and Pompey. An account recorded on a wax tablet from the small town of Callus reveals that the local chariot racers experienced a series of accidents due to poorly maintained wheels. The tablet notes that, on the Ides of March, 3 chariots suffered catastrophic wheel failures during the Circensian Games, which resulted in injuries to both the horses and the drivers. This incident prompted the local magistrate, Quintus Fabius, to implement stricter regulations regarding wheel maintenance. He mandated that all charioteers undergo a training course on wheel care and scheduled a mandatory inspection of all racing chariots 2 weeks prior to any public event. This case study not only highlights the practical implications of wheel maintenance but also illustrates the intersection of sport, governance, and safety in Roman society. #### Comparative analysis with other regions. When examining Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols, it is essential to compare these practices with those of other ancient civilizations, particularly the Greeks and the Egyptians. The Greeks, for instance, utilized a different approach to wheel construction. Their wheels were often made of solid wood, which, while durable, required less frequent maintenance compared to the spoked wheels favored by the Romans. However, the Greeks did not have a standardized inspection timeline. Rather, maintenance was conducted on an as-needed basis, which resulted in a higher incidence of wheel failures during critical racing events. In contrast, the Egyptian approach to chariot wheel maintenance was heavily influenced by the arid climate of the region. Archaeological findings from the tombs of the pharaohs reveal that the Egyptians often employed a waxy resin to coat their wooden wheels, providing a protective barrier against the harsh desert conditions. Seasonal inspections were less common in Egypt, as the emphasis was placed on preemptive measures, such as using materials that could withstand the environment. This comparative analysis underscores the diversity of wheel maintenance practices and the ways in which cultural context shapes technological processes. ###Archaeological findings and interpretations. Archaeological excavations across the Roman Empire have yielded a plethora of artifacts related to chariot wheels, providing insight into the protocols of maintenance and the significance of seasonal inspections. One of the most notable discoveries occurred in the year 1973 at the site of Ephesus, where a series of well-preserved wooden wheels were unearthed. Radiocarbon dating indicated that these wheels dated back to the late 1st century CE. Upon further analysis, archaeologists noted that the wheels exhibited signs of routine maintenance, including remnants of iron nails used to secure the rims and evidence of a resinous coating. This discovery prompted a re-evaluation of the common belief that Roman chariot wheels were primarily neglected until failure. Instead, it suggested that routine maintenance was indeed a common practice, as inferred from the wear patterns on the wheels themselves. In addition to wheels, the excavation site revealed tools used by wheelwrights, including a variety of chisels and hammers, along with detailed instructions inscribed on clay tablets. These instructions outlined the step-by-step process of wheel maintenance, emphasizing the importance of regular inspections and the specific techniques employed to address common issues such as spoke loosening and rim damage. ###Primary source quotations, invented but plausible. To further enrich our understanding of the Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols, we can consider a few primary source quotations. Gaius Avitus, in his writings, might have stated, "In the art of wheelcraft, one must never overlook the smallest crack, for it is the minor fissures that herald the greatest calamities." This reflection speaks to the meticulous nature of wheel maintenance and the foresight required to prevent disasters. Another plausible quotation could come from Quintus Fabius during his address to local charioteers: "Let it be known that a well-maintained wheel is the charioteer's steadfast companion in both victory and safety. Neglect it, and you shall face not only disgrace but also injury upon the dust of the arena." This sentiment echoes the importance placed on wheel maintenance in the context of competitive racing and public safety. Finally, an imagined inscription from a Roman wheelwright's workshop might read, "Here, we honor the wheel, for it is the bearer of our triumphs and the shield against our failures. Care for it diligently, and it shall serve you well on the journey ahead." Such inscriptions highlight the reverence Romans had for their chariots and the wheels that enabled their mobility. Conclusion. In conclusion, the tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines is a richly layered subject that encompasses minor historical figures, case studies, comparative analyses, archaeological findings, and invented primary sources. Each aspect, while seemingly mundane, contributes to a deeper understanding of the engineering prowess and cultural values of ancient Rome. The meticulous nature of wheel maintenance and the protocols established by figures like Gaius Avitus and Quintus Fabius reflect a society that valued safety, efficiency, and the triumph of the human spirit in the face of mechanical challenges. As we delve into the intricate web of practices surrounding chariot wheel maintenance, we uncover not just a history of wheels but a narrative of innovation, diligence, and the pursuit of excellence that characterizes the Roman Empire. This exhaustive examination, while perhaps lacking in immediate excitement, offers a comprehensive perspective on a topic that, despite its tedium, is undeniably foundational to the understanding of Roman transportation and sport. The history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines is a topic that, while seemingly mundane, reveals a complex interplay of engineering, societal norms, and economic considerations that characterize the Roman Empire. The meticulous nature of these protocols often went unnoticed by the general populace, yet they were crucial to ensuring the efficiency and safety of chariot operations, especially in the context of racing and military logistics. #The role of minor historical figures. While many prominent figures such as Julius Caesar and Augustus are often credited with the advances in Roman engineering and military logistics, it is essential to recognize the contributions of lesser-known individuals who played vital roles in the development and implementation of wheel maintenance protocols. One such figure is Marcus Furius Camillus, a lesser-known military engineer who lived during the early Republic, circa 396 BCE. Camillus is often credited with introducing standardized wheel sizes and materials for military chariots, which inadvertently laid the groundwork for subsequent maintenance protocols. His emphasis on consistency in wheel design facilitated the establishment of a systematic approach to inspections, as maintenance teams could create uniform checklists applicable across various chariot types. Additionally, the work of Gaius Octavius, a provincial charioteer who gained fame in the late Republic, around 50 BCE, should not be overlooked. Octavius was known for his detailed records of wheel wear and tear, meticulously noting the types of repairs conducted on his racing chariots. His contributions to the understanding of wheel durability and the lifespan of specific materials were documented in the Commentarii Decuru, which, although lost to time, influenced the practices of future charioteers and maintenance crews. Specific case studies. To illustrate the evolution of wheel maintenance practices, we can examine several specific case studies that highlight the changing dynamics of Roman chariot maintenance over different periods. The case of the Circus Maximus, circa 200 BCE. The Circus Maximus, Rome's grandest chariot racing venue, serves as an excellent case study for the implementation of wheel maintenance protocols. By 200 BCE, the popularity of chariot racing had surged, prompting the establishment of formal guidelines for the maintenance of racing chariots. Archaeological findings from the site indicate that maintenance crews were regularly assigned to inspect wheels before races. A stone inscription discovered in the region mentions a curator curuum, chariot inspector, whose responsibility was to oversee these inspections. The inscription, translated as follows, "Let the wheels be inspected daily, and all repairs noted and acted upon without delay," signifies the formalization of maintenance practices that became a standard in the racing culture of Rome. The seasonal inspection timeline established during this period was remarkable in its detail. Crews would perform thorough inspections at the beginning of each racing season in the spring, March, and again in the fall, September, with additional checks mandated after particularly rainy weeks, as wet conditions were known to exacerbate wheel damage. The military campaign of the Second Punic War, 218 to 201 BCE. Another pivotal instance of chariot wheel maintenance can be drawn from the military campaigns during the Second Punic War. The Roman army, under the command of Publius Cornelius Scipio, faced significant logistical challenges that required a keen focus on the maintenance of military chariots. In a letter dated 204 BCE, Scipio wrote to the Senate regarding the state of his chariots, stating, "The wheels of our chariots, burdened by the weight of battle and the passage of time, demand vigilant oversight. I urge that we establish a monthly inspection protocol to address where before it becomes a hindrance." This letter reflects the necessity of regular inspections and the adaptation of maintenance protocols to meet the demands of military engagements. The inspections involved not just visual assessments but also practical tests, where wheels were subjected to stress tests on various terrains to evaluate their durability. Such practices highlighted the importance of wheel integrity in ensuring the success of military operations, where failure was not an option. Comparative analysis with other regions. When comparing Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols with those of other ancient civilizations, such as the Greek and Persian empires, several distinct differences emerge. In Greece, for example, chariot maintenance was often informal, relying heavily on individual charioteers' knowledge and experience. This lack of standardized procedures often resulted in varied wheel conditions and performance levels at the Pan-Hellenic Games. In contrast, the Romans took a much more systematic approach, with detailed inspection protocols that were codified and enforced, resulting in a notable increase in consistency and safety. The Persians, on the other hand, employed a hybrid model that combined centralized oversight with local knowledge. The great king would appoint regional governors responsible for the maintenance of chariots used in military campaigns. However, the lack of a comprehensive timeline for inspections led to inconsistencies across the empire, with reports of chariots failing during crucial battles due to neglected maintenance. Archaeological findings and interpretations. Numerous archaeological findings provide insight into Roman chariot wheel maintenance practices. Excavations in Pompeii have unearthed remnants of chariot wheels, revealing the materials used and the state of upkeep they received. The wheels, often made from a combination of wood, metal, and leather, have been analyzed for wear patterns that indicate the frequency and type of maintenance. One particularly notable finding was the discovery of a cache of wheel components, including spokes and hubs, which had been meticulously preserved. This cache contained a series of inscriptions detailing the maintenance history of each item, providing a remarkable glimpse into the standards of care exercised by chariot owners. The inscriptions read, "Repaired on the Ides of March, new spokes fitted, and tested on the Via Appia," exemplifying the thoroughness of Roman maintenance protocols. Primary source quotations. While primary sources from the era may be scarce, we can imagine plausible quotations that reflect the attitudes toward wheel maintenance in ancient Rome. For instance, a fictional passage from the writings of a Roman engineer might read, "A chariot's wheel is akin to the heart of a soldier. It must be strong, well cared for, and ready to bear the weight of its burden. To neglect its care is to invite ruin upon oneself." Another imagined quote from a provincial charioteer could state, "In the heat of the race, a single wobble may spell the difference between victory and defeat. Thus, I tend to my wheels as a mother cares for her child, for their strength is my own." Conclusion. The exploration of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines reveals a tapestry of historical significance, technical ingenuity, and cultural norms. Through the contributions of minor historical figures, the examination of specific case studies, comparative analyses, and archaeological findings, we gain a deeper understanding of the meticulous nature of Roman engineering practices. As we delve into the intricacies of these protocols, we find that the seemingly mundane topic of wheel maintenance serves as a reflection of the broader Roman ethos, a commitment to excellence, a drive for efficiency, and an unwavering attention to detail. In the grand narrative of history, it is often these overlooked elements that truly define the legacy of a civilization, ensuring that even the smallest cog in the wheel of progress receives its due diligence. In wrapping up this exploration, it is imperative to acknowledge that the history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols is not just a footnote in the annals of ancient engineering but a testament to the diligence of a society that understood the value of maintenance and the art of preservation. Through their rigorous inspection timelines and protocols, the Romans not only ensured the performance of their chariots but also set a precedent for future generations in the realms of engineering and logistics, a legacy that continues to echo through the ages. Thus, as one contemplates the history of Roman chariot wheels, one cannot help but appreciate the intricate layers of care and attention that went into maintaining these vital components of Roman life, ultimately allowing the empire to thrive and ensuring that the wheels of progress continue to turn. The history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines is not merely a topic of interest for historians, but rather a labyrinthine narrative, rich in detail and intricacy that can lull even the most fervent scholar into a profound slumber. A thorough examination of this subject requires an exploration of various facets, from minor historical figures who played pivotal roles in the development and dissemination of these protocols, to specific case studies illustrating their application over the centuries. We begin with the less heralded figures in the annals of Roman history, such as Gaius Clodius Flaccus, a lesser-known equestrian who lived during the late Republic. Flaccus was known for his meticulous documentation of chariot wheel maintenance practices, which he maintained in a series of scrolls entitled De Rota e di Curu. Although these scrolls have been lost to time, references to them in the writings of later historians suggest that Flaccus emphasized the importance of seasonal inspections. He argued that wheels should be inspected in the spring and fall to ensure optimal performance, particularly in the varied terrains of the Roman Empire. His protocols included checking for structural integrity, proper lubrication, and the alignment of spokes. In addition to Gaius Clodius Flaccus, we must consider the contributions of another minor historical figure, Marcus Tullius Varro, who, although better known for his works on agriculture, provided insights into the engineering aspects of chariot wheels in his less celebrated texts. Varro's meticulous attention to detail in describing the materials used for wheel construction highlights the significance of wood selection. He recommended oak for its durability and resilience. These early suggestions echoed through the centuries and laid the groundwork for later maintenance protocols that would be adopted by charioteers throughout the empire. To illustrate the practical application of these protocols, we turn to specific case studies. One notable instance occurred in 42 BCE, during the climactic Battle of Forum Gallorum. Historical records indicate that a Roman charioteer named Lucius Septimius, who had recently implemented the seasonal inspection protocol proposed by Flaccus, found himself at a distinct advantage. His chariot wheels had been inspected, and any signs of wear were addressed prior to the battle, thus ensuring that his chariot performed efficiently on the uneven terrain. This attention to detail not only contributed to his victory but also emphasized the critical importance of seasonal maintenance. The outcome of the battle, influenced by such mundane yet essential practices, serves as a testament to the impact of proper wheel care. As we delve deeper, it becomes necessary to engage in a comparative analysis with other regions. The maintenance protocols of Roman chariots stand in stark contrast to those of the Celts and the Germanic tribes. While the Romans adhered to a structured seasonal inspection regimen, Celtic charioteers often relied on more instinctual practices, assessing wheel condition based on experience rather than a codified protocol. This divergence in approach can be attributed to cultural differences. The Romans were methodical and bureaucratic, while the Celts favored a more organic methodology that prioritized adaptability over strict adherence to a maintenance schedule. Archaeological findings further illuminate our understanding of Roman chariot wheel maintenance. Excavations at sites such as Pompeii and Herculaneum have uncovered remnants of chariot wheels, complete with inscriptions indicating their maintenance history. For example, a wheel discovered at Pompeii, dating to 79 CE, bore markings that suggested it had undergone inspections at least twice a year, corresponding with Flaccus's recommendations. The meticulous nature of these markings indicates that wheel maintenance was not merely a personal endeavor but rather a community responsibility, perhaps overseen by local guilds akin to modern-day automotive associations. In addition to physical artifacts, we encounter primary source quotations that, while invented, are plausible within the context of Roman literature. One might imagine a well-known Roman philosopher, perhaps a fictional figure named Quintus Aurelius Maximus, stating in a treatise, "The wheel, when neglected, becomes the chariot's greatest adversary. Thus, it is incumbent upon the charioteer to treat the wheel with the reverence it demands, lest one invite calamity upon the very vehicle that carries them into the fray." Such sentiments would encapsulate the prevailing attitudes toward maintenance and care, echoing through the corridors of time. Moreover, the seasonal inspection timelines themselves warrant a detailed examination. The Romans typically observed a rigorous schedule, with inspections occurring at the onset of spring, a time when the roads would become more navigable after the winter months, and again in the autumn, to prepare for the rigors of winter travel. Each inspection would include a thorough examination of the wheel's components. Spokes were checked for cracks, rims for warping, and the overall integrity of the hub was assessed. Charioteers would often use a simple tool known as the rotator, a device akin to a modern-day caliper, to measure the wheel's diameter and ensure uniformity. The importance of these inspections cannot be overstated. A well-maintained wheel could mean the difference between success and failure in both daily transport and in the heat of chariot racing. The Romans, with their penchant for organization, even established local guilds responsible for certifying the quality of wheel maintenance, akin to today's automotive inspection services. Each guild would issue a certificate, often inscribed on a small bronze plate, which indicated that the chariot had passed inspection. These plates, discovered in various archaeological sites, serve as a tangible record of the bureaucratic systems in place for wheel maintenance. Further elaboration on the comparative analysis reveals that the eastern regions of the Roman Empire adopted different practices influenced by local customs and available materials. In regions such as Egypt, where the climate was arid, chariots were often fitted with wheels made from papyrus and reeds, a stark contrast to the robust wooden wheels favored by their Roman counterparts. This innovation was born out of necessity, as the lightweight materials allowed for greater maneuverability in sandy terrains. However, the maintenance of such wheels required a different approach, emphasizing moisture retention to prevent cracking. In the broader context of the Roman Empire, the various provinces developed their own maintenance protocols, often influenced by local conditions and materials. For instance, in the provinces of Gaul, charioteers utilized a blend of Roman protocols and indigenous practices, leading to the creation of hybrid maintenance techniques. The Gauls, known for their resourcefulness, often employed animal fats as natural lubricants, contrasting with the olive oil widely used in the Mediterranean regions. This adaptability highlights the dynamic nature of Roman chariot maintenance, as it evolved to meet the needs of diverse environments. Moving forward, we must not overlook the myriad of minor historical figures who contributed to the evolution of chariot wheel maintenance. One such figure, Tiberius Claudius Verus, a lesser-known engineer during the reign of Emperor Augustus, is credited with the invention of a rudimentary wheel alignment tool. His contributions, although overshadowed by more prominent figures of the time, played a crucial role in improving the precision of wheel maintenance. His work is often cited in the context of developing more efficient maintenance protocols, as it allowed for better alignment and reduced wear on the wheels. The documentation of wheel maintenance practices continued into the later stages of the Roman Empire. By the time of the Severan dynasty, more formalized texts began to emerge, detailing the protocols established by earlier figures like Flavius and Varro. The emergence of these texts reflects an increasing awareness of the importance of systematic wheel maintenance, as the empire expanded and the demands on chariot transport intensified. The seasonal inspection timelines became increasingly regimented as the empire faced new challenges, such as the expansion of its road networks and the integration of diverse cultures. By the 3rd century CE, the Roman military had begun to standardize wheel maintenance protocols across its legions, ensuring that supplies and troops could be transported effectively. This standardization not only facilitated military operations but also reinforced the logistical backbone of the empire, which relied heavily on the efficiency of its chariots for both warfare and commerce. As we draw closer to the conclusion of this exhaustive exploration, we must acknowledge the role of cultural memory in the maintenance practices of Roman chariots. The transition from the Republic to the Empire saw a shift in the perception of chariot wheels from mere components of transportation to symbols of status and power. This cultural evolution further solidified the importance of maintenance protocols, as wealthy patricians sought to ensure their chariots were both functional and aesthetically pleasing. In summation, the tedious history of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines is a rich tapestry woven from the contributions of various historical figures, case studies, comparative analyses, archaeological findings, and primary sources. Each of these elements contributes to our understanding of the importance of maintaining chariot wheels, an endeavor that was as vital to the Romans as any military campaign or architectural achievement. The meticulous attention to detail, the adherence to seasonal inspections, and the development of maintenance protocols reflect a culture that valued efficiency and reliability in their transportation systems. As we reflect on this extensive narrative, we recognize that while the topic may seem mundane, it is imbued with the echoes of a civilization that understood the significance of every wheel turn and every mile traveled. The legacy of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols endures, reminding us of the interconnectedness of history, culture, and the simple yet profound act of caring for the vehicles that carried a great empire forward. Thus, as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, let the thoughts of Roman chariot wheels and their rigorous maintenance protocols guide you into a peaceful slumber, where the wheels of history continue to turn silently in the night. And so, dear listeners, we come to the end of our journey through the intricate and often overlooked world of Roman chariot wheel maintenance protocols and seasonal inspection timelines. As we traversed the winding roads of history, we delved into the meticulous practices that ensured the smooth operation of chariots, the lifeblood of Roman transport and commerce. From the careful selection of materials to the seasonal rituals that safeguarded these vital vehicles, we discovered how each detail, however tedious it may have seemed, played a crucial role in the grandeur of Roman civilization. We explored the fascinating relationship between craftsmen and their creations, learning how the artistry of wheelmaking was intertwined with the very essence of Roman life. Each protocol, each inspection, was a testament to the dedication of those who labored tirelessly to keep the wheels of progress turning. In a world that often feels rushed and chaotic, it's comforting to reflect on how even the smallest tasks can significantly impact the larger tapestry of history. As we wrap up this soothing exploration, I want to take a moment to thank you, dear listener, for accompanying me on this gentle journey. It is a privilege to share these tales with you, and I hope that you found peace and relaxation in the rhythm of the words, much like the steady turning of a well-maintained wheel. Remember, should you wish to revisit this tranquil narrative, the option to replay is always available, allowing you to drift back into this serene world whenever you desire. Now, as night draws near and the stars begin to twinkle softly in the sky, I wish you a restful and rejuvenating sleep. May your dreams be filled with the soothing sounds of history, where the echo of chariot wheels gently lull you into a peaceful slumber. Allow the worries of the day to fade away, just as the sun sets beyond the horizon, leaving behind a canvas of tranquility. So, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let the calming embrace of sleep wash over you. Know that you are safe, cherished, and ready to embark on a new day when the morning light breaks. Good night, dear listener. May your rest be deep, your dreams be sweet, and your heart be light. Until we meet again, may you find comfort in the gentle whispers of time, and may the wheels of your own journey continue to turn with grace and ease.